Hello, this is William Perkins again. The purpose of this video is to talk about the presentation or the appointment. Basically, five main things that you want to go over or steps in this appointment. The first step is you want to do rapport building. The second step is you want to do a needs analysis. The third step is your presentation itself of Town Money Saver, which has five elements of two. The fourth thing is you want to close. And the last thing is you want to plan your follow-up. In the presentation, when you present Town Money Saver, you're going to talk about package, distribution, product, offer, and frequency. We'll talk about those in other videos. But initially, when you get there, you're going to do a little bit of rapport building. And rapport building, there can be many videos on rapport building. There have been many videos. And I always like to introduce myself again and say hello, how's the weather, try to feel the person out if they're open to having discussions about what's going on in the world, or if they want to get right down to business. So it's important to try to find a common connection to this person. Other things you can do maybe before the presentation is check out sites like LinkedIn. LinkedIn, some professionals use and talks about their business. You might Google them. It's amazing, when you Google someone's name and where they live, you might find out that they're a coach at their local high school. You might find out that they are a big fisherman and they've won awards from it. So those kind of things might guide you in your conversation. The classic sales things, you may walk in there and you may see a fish on the wall or a deer head on the wall or a trophy or a bunch of pictures of their children, and those are going to be kind of give you an idea of what kind of person they are and what they're passionate about. And if I can figure out what they're passionate about, I'm going to probably talk about that a little bit. And I'm not going to really talk about it telling them stuff. I'm going to really talk about it where I just ask them lots of questions. What do you like about that? What drives your passion on that? How early, at what age did you start doing that? Is your family, is your spouse or your kids involved with that? And just ask them tons and tons of questions to learn more about themselves and how they do things and what's important to them. And then after rapport building, we're going to go into needs analysis. And needs analysis is a place where we're going to try to find the needs that they have as a business owner or manager, and their needs and challenges in marketing and advertising. Some businesses are just trying to get started and are trying to acquire new customers. Some businesses know that everybody in town know who I am. I just need my customers to come in more often. Some places say, hey, I've got tons of customers. They come in often, pretty often, but I need to increase how much they spend when they do come in. So I'm trying to increase average ticket. And some businesses are trying to get past some negativity that they've had in the past, whether via them or maybe a previous owner or a previous tenant in the building they're in. Maybe they're trying to combat a competitor that's opening up a new place or has just been creating a lot of challenges for them. So needs analysis is extremely important so that you can understand who they are and the needs and challenges that they face. Now, if you can monetize those and if you can make them personal, that is the advanced needs analysis. And we'll touch on it a little bit here in this video, but there may be a video down the road where we get into a lot more advanced needs analysis. But in basic needs analysis, you need to understand and ask questions about their company, about their products and services, about who their customers are, the objectives in their marketing and advertising, what kind of advertising they've done in the past or what their experience is with advertising, and you're going to wrap up with some last minute questions. But let's talk about each one of those a little bit. In their company, you might ask questions about how they got started and what they like about their company and what they least enjoy about their company. And so these are questions that are going to help you understand a little bit more about them and who they are and where they came from. You're going to ask them about their products and services and what makes them unique, how they compare to their competitors, why do people do business with them as opposed to the guy across town. and try to find out, um, what their main, what are you known for? What would you like to be known for? What products are your highest profit margin products? And the more you can learn about their products, the better it's going to help you as well. Their customers, who they are, where they come from, what kind of, are they old, young, men, women, married, single? As much detailed information as you can find out from them, the better. Because when you're going to take these answers, and you might jot down a few things. You're not going to read off a list per se, but you're going to take these answers and you're going to incorporate these in your presentation when you present Town Money Saver in a few minutes. So the more you can learn about their customers and the more you can learn about their business, the more it's going to make it for you to be able to sell to them. You're going to ask them about their competition and, of course, their objectives. Now back to customers. I'm going to ask you a couple more things about customers. One of the big questions I always ask people is stuff like, when your customers come in, what's the average expenditure? Or if it's a restaurant, what's your average check? Let's say it's a restaurant and they say that their average check is $20 or $30, whatever the number is. And then I'm going to ask them, well, those customers, how often do they come in? And I'm sure you got some people come in every day and some people come in once. But on average, what's your average customer? How often are they here? And I take whatever number they give me. They say, well, they'll probably guess. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month, twice a month, whatever. So if they say, well, my average check is $25 and they come in twice a month. Okay, very good. So your average customer generates about $50 in revenue a month for you, or about $600 a year, doing some basic math. Okay, very good. Okay, so now, and then I'll ask them, are you happy with the number of customers you have? Are you happy with the number of visits? Are you happy with your average check? And if you can increase one or all of those, which ones would you do? And which ones would be more important to increase? So, where their focus is. The other thing I may ask is, what's your challenges? They may say, hey, my business is great on the weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, phenomenal, but during the week we're slow. So I'm gonna look for those little challenge places. I'm gonna say, hey, you're slow during the week. What do you mean by you're slow? And they'll say, well, we just, during the weekend we're packed, but during the week we just, we're slow. Maybe 5 tables on average is full at a time. And how many tables do you have total? It's full, and they have actually a total of 15 tables. So they've got 10 free. And so if 10 are free, for every hour, that's $250 of revenue they're not getting that they normally get on the weekends. And in the nighttime, if they're open from, let's say, from till 10 o'clock at night, say the prime hours are from 5 to 10, that's 5 hours, and at $250 a table that they're not seating, that's about $1,250 a night that they're not able to generate, that they're losing. And I might actually do the math and show them those numbers and say, so what you're telling me is that you're down $1,250 a night, every night during the week, that you're getting on the weekend. So if I multiply that over 5 nights, that's going to come out to over $6,000 in revenue that they're losing each week. And if we do times 4, we get up to $24,000, $25,000 a month in revenue that they're not generating. And they go, oh my God, I never thought about it that way. If I was busy every night like I am on the weekend, I would have $24,000, $25,000 more money in my pocket. And I'll say, how does that make you feel? I might also ask them, how's it affecting the business by not having that additional revenue? And have them tell me. They'll say, hey, it's, our weekends are keeping us afloat. If we have a bad weekend, we're hurting. Or we might say, hey, we've got some, repairs. We've had this go out on us, and if we had that additional revenue, we'd be able to fix some things. We'd have better equipment. We'd be able to do more things. We'd be able to do more promotions. But right now, we're barely squeaking by. I might also ask, well, how's it affecting you personally? How's it affecting you as a business owner or a manager? in your personal life by not having that revenue. And this is where you can sometimes find the pain. You might find out that they're trying to pay for their daughter to go to college or something, or they're trying to, pay off a debt. Maybe they borrowed some money from a family member to start the business or whatever. And if you can get them to kind of give you the pain, or if they're a manager, hey, I'm getting a lot of heat from corporate that I'm not, that we got to get ourselves up. My job's in jeopardy. These are kind of things that are going to make my sale a lot easier. So at the end, when I come back to them on the close, which we'll talk about later, I'm going to say something like, hey, if we're able to generate a portion of those $25,000 in sales you're losing a month, if we're able to get 10 or 20% of those sales back, that could make a huge difference in getting your daughter into college, or it might make a huge difference in showing corporate that you're doing what you got to do to get your sales up, and that you are that they made a good decision in making you the manager. So anytime I can find out those pain elements, those are going to help me close more sales. When I can find out information that we talked about just a few minutes ago here in needs analysis about the company, the products, the services, their customers, their competition, their objectives, all of these things are going to help me in closing more sales. I'm also going to use these answers in my presentation. So if they tell me their customers come from a certain area, I'm going to talk about in the presentation. I'm going to talk about distribution. I'm going to talk about, hey, we're mailing these people. We're mailing, and I'm going to really kind of point out the people that they talked about that their customers are. When I talk to them about competition, and they say, hey, I run with a newspaper, I ran with them for years, or I run with the radio. I'm going to ask them questions like, well, who's your rep? And like what's that got to do with Town Money Saver? But it's a good question. If you ask a person who their sales rep is, and they can tell you, oh, my sales rep is Mary. Her and her husband live down the road here. Blah 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 blah. That they have a relationship with Mary. That they know Mary well, and it's going to be very difficult for them to drop Mary and run with you. So I need to kind of gear my presentation and maybe how I can complement what Mary's doing. Now, if they say my rep, she's kind of middle height, brownish hair, I can't remember her name. That tells me that they're doing more of a transactional buy, where they're buying, for other reasons, and they have no relationship with this sales rep. Also tells me that I need to really work hard to make sure I get a relationship, because maybe they're that way with all the reps. But asking those kind of questions can really help you understand their business better, and how they make decisions, and how they deal with their sales reps. I may ask them as well, what made you choose that particular form of advertising? And that'll help me with, are they really the decision maker? What are their hot buttons? They'll say, hey, I like that. I made the decision because they do blah, blah, blah. They're telling me their big things. They're not telling me all the stuff that didn't matter to them. They're telling me the stuff that does matter to them. So I want to make sure that when I do my presentation, that I hit on those elements. So another big question, why'd you choose that? And how's it doing for you? I never assume it's doing good. I never assume it's doing bad, and I never compare myself until I know how the competitor is doing for them. If they say, hey, it's working great, I'm going to say, fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. You're going to love us because we compliment them very well. And let me show you how we compliment them. If they say, it's horrible, it's the worst thing we've ever done, it's a big waste of money, I say, man, I hate to hear that. I've heard that before, but you're going to love us. Let me show you how we're different. So it's real important to understand where they are with their competitors, their relationships, and how they feel about the competitor, so that you don't put yourself in a bad spot by pitching and not knowing these answers. So needs analysis is probably one of the most important things in the appointment or presentation, is understanding your customer. So that's it for this video.